all about trading, and trading it is. And if you fancy yourself as a trader, you may want to watch this. Battle Royale it's called, and it's an innovative new trading competition run by the FTX exchange. Now, this competition is not only about trading and winning, but what you can do is you can take tokens and stake them on other traders. Now, speaking of other traders, I've got one of the master traders from this competition with me on the line. Cold-blooded Shiller, you're a master trader. In fact, I've seen some of your results. Why are you so excited about this Battle Royale competition? So now he's answering me on Skype, but he's actually not.
Pre-recorded.
It's not only about winning money by winning trading, but you can actually also stake or bet behind it. Understand that this is not a regular trading competition, because it's not only about winning, but you can also get people to bet behind you. Have you blood followers? Are people betting behind you? People betting behind you, betting that you're going to win. Warm-up competition, this campaign. How did you do in the warm-up competition? So you made 23x in 48 hours. No wonder people are putting money behind you. I need to ask you a question. If you're making so much money, where is the market going to go? Where are you putting your money on now? So you're calling the market down. It sounds like it's going to be brutal, but you still think you can make money doing this. If our viewers want to go and follow you or trade on the FTX competition, where can they go? That's Cold-blooded Shiller, and what he's saying is that the market is coming down. What do you think? Do you think the market's coming down? What are you basing a decision on? And I'm going to call up the chart that you actually sent me.
Yes. So in fact, what we can see on this pie chart right here is something that is called a falling wedge. If you look at the two descending white lines, they form support and resistance.
You're up, not down.
So the odds technically should be higher for us to break to the upside. There is one small little problem, however, right now, and that is the 200 daily moving average, which is the red line going through the chart. And currently the price is in fact below this very important moving average, which is a huge moving average for traders, because this usually marks it below it. So it's very important for Bitcoin to go right back above it very, very soon, because otherwise there is, of course, the bear scenario where we could fall below the support, and in that case, yeah, lower prices are possible. But I would say the odds would be higher to the upside, actually much higher.
Okay, so you
the target in a falling wedge like this. If we were to break the downside, if that happens, if we could scroll to the next chart, if that's possible.
Is it that chart?
Next one. No.
That one.
No, it's not. This one.
With only one shot.
All right. So, so the bottom target in that case is probably somewhere actually along the lines of 5.4K. That is the next major support area. If you look at something called the VPVR, volume per volume range, and it would be easier to explain if I could show it, but it is a cluster of support at that level. And basically, right now we are finding support in another cluster of support. So between these two supports, where we are right now and down to 5.4K, there is basically not a lot of volume traded, which means that basically if we break the current levels, there's like a free fall potential scenario where we go down to 5.4.
So our previous call-blooded Shiller said 5.5. You're saying 5.4. Let's call up your chart. What are you saying?
So we basically just made an episode about that a few days ago, and we were agreeing upon the bearish target of 5,400. However, this is very unlikely, and the question everyone is asking right now, since we had a huge breakout to the downside, is whether we are still in a bull market or whether we are entering a bear market right now. And we can see on this chart that the likelihood of us going to a bear market is actually pretty low, because what we can see with the green arrows pointing to the downside is that the Bitcoin price has always topped out at these moving averages, and we can see here the Fibonacci golden seconds, and this is something mind-blowing. It is something like a mathematical law of nature indicator, And we can see that the Bitcoin price at the first time has topped out at the purple line. The second time, in over 2013, it has topped out at the blue line. And then in 2017, the famous 20,000 blow-off top was the orange line. So right now we should be topping out at the blue line, and we are still far away from that. And this recent breakout to the downside was actually something good, because we need to breathe. We need we need some time for the blue line, because it's a lagging indicator to increase more. And us breaking the downside was very, very bullish, because if we wouldn't have broken out to the downside, our bull market top would have been something like 16 or 18,000. So right now we can see that this moving average is increasing, and the more we are consolidating actually, and that's the catch here, the higher the next bull market top will be.
So you're calling it breathing, but let me tell you, when the market goes down, I can't breathe.
Yes.
Just after the break, we're going to bring you more traders, more and more trading here today. By the time we leave here today, you guys are going to be trading experts, so stay tuned.
Let's do it.
So you say the market needs to breathe, but let me tell you, I can't breathe when the market goes down. Just after the break, we're going to be bringing you more and more traders. In fact, by the time we leave here, you guys are going to be master traders. So stay tuned for our live coverage right here from Decenter Cafe, right in the heart of Seoul, with our very ambitious studio audience. Alrighty.
Two more segments on trading, and make sure to stick around for our sponsors. We have Terra, Matic, and Praxxis. But if you have to go, we are recording it, so you will be able to catch it on the show. Thank you guys.
With our coverage from the Crypto Trader Meetup in the heart of Seoul at the Decenter Cafe. We're here at an event sponsored by three amazing sponsors, Matic, Praxxis, and of course Terra. And we're talking trading. Because by the end of this episode, you guys are going to be big traders. With me, I've got Rob and Nick. Guys, I'm looking at your charts, and specifically you, Rob, I'm looking at this chart that you sent me, which looks very scary, but what am I actually looking at?
It actually isn't too scary here. What we're seeing is starting in 2016, the bull run from 16 to 17, 40% pullbacks were actually very common. And what we're seeing here on this next run out of the bear, we're experiencing a 40% pullback. We touched 14,000, now we just touched 7,800 on this pullback, but it's nothing to really freak out about. The macro structure is still bullish.
Are you buying?
Yes.
Are these the levels? Is this the low?
You know, I can't say if this is the low, because how the Bitcoin and crypto markets work, they move so quickly and they're so emotional and volatile that you can see big wicks down that might wash out a lot of stop orders. So I can't tell you if this is the low, but I do think,
buying.
Yes, I think buys here will end up being very good in the near future.
Nick, I want to hear your view here. You've sent us this chart. Are you buying at these levels? Is this the low?
I'm not convinced this is below this yet. So as here you can see a monthly chart, I think below 8,500. So that's possible for the downside back to 7,400. Possibly to break that, and on the monthly lower box, we might get back down to the 2018 lows around 6,200. Quite expect to see significant bounce just on previous price history. I think even if we rally above 8,500 right now, it's going to be a low volume rally. So I'll be watching the open interest on the derivative platform. Turn more bullish on the macro scale right now. We're expecting a retest of the 14,000.
I like the latter option where we're testing the 14,000. Now, I also like the fact that I've got two traders and you're saying we're going up, but you're not that convinced. Up until now, we've only spoken about Bitcoin. Is there still an old market? And of course, Matic. And like I said to you before, we had the American traders and they couldn't agree. And now I've got some of the Asian traders to ask them what they think. Guys, are we bullish or are we bearish?
I think we're a little bearish right now.
We're bearish to what level?
I'm also thinking like earlier, it's around 5,000, 6,000 range.
And why do you think we're going to 5,600? What is it that's telling you this?
So I like to do the ABC pattern, and I think our C hasn't formed yet, and I think it's going to be bigger. So I think there's one more level down before I really go in.
Now, when you talk about these levels that you're going down to, do you look at a time frame? Are you looking at a time frame of a week, a month, 6 6 months?
So like on the chart, I go over like a 4-hour chart, like 10 to 6, and right now it's around within the next 2-3 weeks.
So 2-3 weeks, 5,500. I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to contact you if it happens. And I'm going to contact you if it doesn't happen too. Are we bullish or bearish?
We're bearish. I think
Everybody's bearish.
look, it's not me. I'm not an analyst. Right? I used to be an analyst. I used to fundamentals, technicals. But mostly I look at market sentiment. Market sentiment right now isn't that great. So, you
You have to be buying. Not everyone that you've spoken to is negative,
Right.
which means that you should be buying.
I'm buying.
You're buying.
I'm buying. Yeah, I'm buying.
From Osaka, Japan, Korea. It has been amazing. Thank you very much to everybody here at the Decentral Cafe. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Terra, to Praxxis, and of course to Matic Network for making this amazing meetup possible. And thank you to you, our studio audience. Thank you very much.
Audience and see what's going on during Korea Blockchain Week, as well as what they're trading. Let's start off with David. David, how has Korea Blockchain Week been for you?
It's been a blast, and really great. XX collective community here, and so many people started to download our apps and learning to use our metadata shredding messaging, which I think everyone seems to realize is going to be the replacement for like WeChat and Facebook. So it's pretty exciting to be at the very beginning of this. People are waiting on starting to.
Is that the next wave that we've seen here this week during Korea Blockchain Week messaging applications?
WeChat is proved.
Incredible just to see the quality of speakers and how they really all around the world and trying to get to rub shoulders with some of the great ATC, Chainlink, and a little bit of Ethereum. I'm looking for a big pump for Ethereum right now.
All right, we'll see. Thanks, Amanda. And on the floor. Okay.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's actually my first time in Seoul, and it's been a really great time.
What have you seen so far?
I've seen just mass adoption of a lot of different projects, and it's always good to just see all the different work that's going on in the space.
All right. Bear market.
Well, last week hasn't been great, but we've seen some good turnaround here, and honestly, I think things are going to keep moving.
All right. Thank you very much. Hi. How's Korea Blockchain Week?
Well, it's great. It's my first time here in Korea, and I've met a lot of interesting people, saw a lot of interesting projects, and so far it's been really very interesting as seeing crypto scene here in Korea.
Would you say we're in a bear or bull market?
Now we are on the bear market, but we see a lot of opportunity in the next couple of weeks or next month. So we believe this will be a very good situation for crypto and blockchain industry.
All right, excellent. Okay, and then we're seeing it in Korea so far, Jason.
So I'm seeing a lot of, I would kind of say speculation, but it is positive. It is have a lot of potential. Right now, I think it's just the anticipation is growing so much that eventually it's going to burst, and that we'll see a lot of collaboration and stronger relationships between both the private industry and also with regulators.
So are we in a bear or bull market? Oh, turn to you.
Thank you. And we see that it's very uprising here in Korea, and we are happy to introduce our new web platform and stabilize the crypto market as a whole. Thank you. Thank you.
Are we in a bear or bull market?
Well, we need a whole stable system.
All right.
Yeah, it's been very good for us. I think we've met a lot of relevant people here, especially the projects who are building various kind of apps. In fact, many of them will be interacting with them over the Telegram or on Slack channels and all that. It's good to meet them in person, and many important things move forward. It's very good for us.
We're just getting started here, but I think there's a lot of exciting things happening in our projects. So before I start talking about Terra, I want to talk about Y Combinator for a bit. So probably the one company that has had the greatest impact in the narrative of the modern startup is Y Combinator. And I quote its founder, Paul Graham, who says, "A startup is a company that is designed to grow fast. The only essential thing is growth. Everything else that we associate with startups is secondary to grow. But as we all know, blockchain projects have been pursuing things a little bit differently from this venture. Whereas traditional startups focus on solid business plans and tested go-to-markets, blockchain companies have been focusing on white papers and theories. And whereas traditional startups have been focused on things like delivering investor value, blockchain products are focused on market making and trading volumes. And most importantly, whereas traditional startups are focused on user numbers and growth, user numbers and growth, blockchain projects are focused on other things like airdrops and Telegram reviews and things like that. So perhaps it should come as no surprise then why the numbers of the top decentralized applications are so abysmal. So in comparison, the largest mobile applications on Google Play and Apple App Store today are things like Facebook and WhatsApp and TikTok. So these companies add about 200 million in additional users every fiscal quarter, users per day. So if you take away airdrops and incentivize participation programs, I think it's pretty safe to say that nobody is using decentralized applications today, sadly. I know that most of this, the unit value of an EOS user would be above $10 million. And given that Justin Tron is the only person that's using Tron, the unit value of a Tron user is $900 million, which seems pretty high to me. So insofar that you have blockchains that are not delivering any value, they shouldn't be valued anything at all, right? What I say is that the days of token prices percent to process transactions. So it's a stepwise improvement in terms of the payment deals that merchants will be getting. Last but not least, Terra offers unparalleled discounts and promotions through Terra, what we call fiscal spending. Right? So Terra is a fractional reserve stability mechanism, which means that as Terra's adoption and usage grows and more Terra enters the market, we can take the amount of spread, or seniors as they call it in monetary economics, to be able to do interesting things. So what we choose to do with this money is that we use the economic growth of the Terra economy and then give it back to Chai users in the form of user promotions and discounts. So different to a system, traditional payment system where promotions and discounts have to be funded through war chests and venture capitalists, this offers a fundamentally better economic model where users can get access to unparalleled benefits by shopping over this payment gateway over others. So in the 13 weeks in which we've been operational, early response has been quite explosive. Up to today, we've had 430,000 shoppers over the Chai Payment Gateway, most of them coming in the last month. And we've processed nearly 2 million transactions up to date. And we think that this number will continue to grow. In terms of daily active users, Terra and Chai has already surpassed some of the most popular tokens. Our daily active user numbers today currently stand at around 58,000 users, which surpasses Litecoin's 52,000 and Bitcoin Cash's 29,000. We're quite confident that outside the fringe use cases of speculation and exchange trading, we're going to catch up to Bitcoin in a matter of a few months. And I'm quite confident that we'll pass the gearing by the end of the year. By the end of the year, we target a transaction volume run rate of $1 billion USD. So this might seem ambitious, but we've made some pretty interesting announcements over Korea Blockchain Week. Some of our plans and announcements on how we can get there. We're the largest hospitality aggregation platform in Korea, doing about 2 billion USD in online bookings and 8 billion USD in offline sales.
Projects these days, because of a lot of media attention and hype, and a lot of users started flocking to users, and that's one of the reasons is like basically blockchain and not scale really was the biggest one here. Then around that time a lot of projects started forming. Our background, we come from plasma research group where our team used to be contributors to plasma group. We'll discuss more about it. So a single game CryptoKitties on Ethereum drove the entire Ethereum network, and the transaction fees shot up to $5 a transaction, and even the transactions started taking like 1 day or even more for confirmation, and that kind of environment is not feasible for a year.
Yeah. Let me start. And so I'm David Chong from Praxxis, and we are here in Korea announcing our quantum resistant digital currency and consensus algorithm breakthrough that's being developed in our stealth lab in Cayman Islands. And I'm also here to speak about Elixir, the sister company of Praxxis, and how important user adoption is in the blockchain space. For smartphones globally is already proven to be messaging combined with payments and including mini apps, as evidenced by WeChat and the direction that Facebook is moving with all of their properties and the other major messaging platforms, as we've heard. So recently, there has been a kind of falling from grace of the major tech companies like Facebook and Google, and of course, users of WeChat are concerned also about the metadata. So it used to be that the public was, in fact, fooled when they were told that if they moved to a messaging system that had end-to-end encryption, end-to-end encryption does not provide protection against the stealing of the user's data, developing the social graph, tracking users, and exploiting them for political and economic purposes. And this is what consumers are all over the planet, when, where you are communicating from, and what sort of places you are communicating with. This is the metadata. And so Praxxis is a